Alright, into customs, and this is a video from the beginning of July that has just never been uploaded. And the reason for that is that there was so much material recorded, I knew it was going to take a long time to edit. So I decided to put it off, as I often do, and just edit simpler videos instead. But we're finally getting around to it now. And maybe you can tell that there was a lot of footage recorded for this, because we're picking this run up on turn 15. And I think in the end, I'm actually going to cut out a lot of the stuff that I wanted to show just to make this more manageable. But here is the original suggestion from Jacob. Recently, I was trying to think of a build using Visitor, and I came up with Real Velociraptor, Panther with Skewer, and Level 3 Visitor. Please steal it if you think it would make a good video. So yeah, I was happy to give this a try. However, I knew it was going to be a bit of a nightmare. Oftentimes I feel like Panther runs sound like they're going to be really good, but then when you try and make them happen in customs, they just don't work. I guess basically just because the Panther ability, although it is very strong, as soon as you add more ability units on top and don't just have like 3 or 4 scalers, the Panther ability just isn't relevant unless you keep matching with summoning teams. Or maybe, I guess, a low-statted snipe team, but if you give the Panther a perk that is not protective, it's usually just going to end up getting deleted by your leopard teams, your, lynx teams, etc. As we actually face another one of these types of teams. And there was a little bug there where the real Velociraptor actually gave an ailment back to the Panther after it got weakened by the Toad, I think. Or maybe it was giving weakness back after getting exposed from the Visitor. I don't know. But it is a funny bug that kept cropping up when I was going for these runs. So yeah, here's another leopard team. The real Velociraptor gets deleted. And the Panther goes down to 1 health. But I think we are actually going to win anyway. Yeah, we were kind of lucky there, I think. Probably the fact that the real Velociraptor got hit by the leopard was the best thing that could have happened there. So yeah, I'm frantically trying to give it more stats to make sure that it doesn't faint. And yeah, I think here at this stage, we're on turn 19. We're probably at the point where we could be facing more unorthodox teams, as we're facing these draw teams with the blowfish. And I think, again, this is probably going to end up being another draw. Unfortunately, since we have Fig on the 2 units at the back, them getting weakness wastes the real Velociraptor triggers. Okay, so we actually win this time, even though things didn't go according to plan. Now there, I should have just put the mushroom on the real Velociraptor and moved it to the back, I think. That would have probably made more sense. But maybe I'm just greeding a little bit because I still have 2 hearts. Oftentimes when I was going for this, I would be down to 1 heart very, very early. Here's a bit of a nightmare opponent with a level 3 50 attack lionfish, so the skunk is totally useless. They actually only have 2 1 HP units left, but yeah, I think there was no path to victory there. So turn 21 now. Very rare to go that late in customs, unless you're specifically playing a draw team, which I very rarely am. And then look at this, we needed a summon opponent. Unfortunately, it's a team that is going to be summoning 3 almost 50-50 salmon, and so our whole squad gets wiped. And yeah, that was definitely a theme with a lot of these runs where I was facing these huge buy-sell teams and there's just nothing you can do. However, here is one where I end up facing Fraser from Super Autopod. I'll link their channel in the description. And he was going for some kind of a challenge too. And he had this really powerful Manticore Red Dragon setup that just completely deletes the whole team. And then here's one where I end up facing Rev with a Sloth, which I thought was quite amusing. And I don't think he ever uploaded this Sloth run, which probably says a lot about how successful it was. But we barely managed to beat him despite him having a Sloth on his team. So at this point in proceedings, the list of fails for this particular request was a mile long. And when I say fails, I'm counting the runs where I also won, but I didn't get the combo going. Now, sometimes that would be because the combo was set up, but for whatever reason, the opponents in the late game just disrupted it too much, either with snipes or push or ailments, for instance. But there were also a bunch of runs where I won and the combo didn't go off, or runs where I won and I didn't find the units in time. So, there were some where I ended up with Panther but no Visitor, or, Panther plus Skewer but no real Velociraptor. Any of these builds that require like 3 or 4 specific units are very, very difficult to get going. Especially if you don't go down the road of shop scaling so that, everything can be huge when you actually just buy it. So at this point, I've really relaxed my requirements for what I'm willing to use as the final team for this particular build. And I think I decided that I was willing to sacrifice the Panther and test out whether or not it was possible for Monty to increase the damage from Skewer. Now, I've maybe seen this in a video before, I don't know. But at the time, I couldn't remember one way or the other whether or not Monty's damage boosting abilities would apply to perks. And they don't, spoilers. But yeah, Monty's ability by itself is so good, it actually doesn't really matter too much if the Skewer isn't doing double damage as well. So you can see that I briefly hover over the Panther. I was probably conditioned at this point to be looking for Panther at every possible opportunity. But instead, we're going to play Husky. And Husky is definitely one of those sort of get out of jail free pets where you feel like if you can't get a team going, then Husky is one of the ways that you might be able to salvage a run. It does have its own drawbacks for sure. It can work pretty well with Panther if you're playing Panther with the perk giving pet on board. So, if I had Panther and then Snapping Turtle on the team, which was often the case until the time that I found the real Velociraptor. You do need some kind of scaling on your Panther, or in this case, your Monty, for them to have any chance of triggering the Skewer multiple times. So yeah, in this particular scenario, it wouldn't have made much sense to pass up the Huskies, although generally I do prefer using Cat in customs. However, it's not the best when you're going for these builds that require specific units, because a lot of the time you're going to need to roll to find them, and you're not going to have the gold to spend on the food for the cat. So we take the Tigerbug level up, and I've got Tigerbug in the team here just to try and have some other unit that is going to benefit from putting Exposed onto the opposing team. So we end up level 2ing the Husky, we just take the extra stats from the Team Spirit, and then we do finally find the real Velociraptor, because we're on turn 11, we're on 5 trophies, 4 hearts, and we don't have any units in the team at all from the actual request. I guess Monty is substituting for the Panther here, but we still need real Velociraptor, and we still need Snapping Turtle as well. In fact, Snapping Turtle was often proving a bit of a problem because we also need to have a pill in order to get the permanent Skewer onto Monty in the first place. And there were many runs where having to sell a unit in order to bring a Snapping Turtle in and pill it ended up losing me the game. Now here I end up playing this really egregious Jersey Devil team. This person, I haven't seen them for a while, but around the time of this recording they were playing Jersey Devil every game and finding the most busted combos imaginable. And actually there I cut out a large portion of the shop phase because I was watching that Jersey Devil team to see what happened. And what they were doing was they were recycling the treasure chest in order to guarantee getting level 3s. Kind of an awkward setup, I guess, but once you get it going, it's pretty horrendous. And they had Starfish as well. So every time they were selling a level 3 unit from the treasure chest, they were getting extra buffs on top. So here I do find a second visitor in the shop, but I decide not to take it, or not to freeze it, because I need at least 4 slots open to try and find the Snapping Turtle. But I think this run is going to go long enough that we're actually probably going to get the chance to level up the visitor anyway once we bring it in. Yeah, I take the level 3 Husky. The Husky is going to have to go as soon as we find the Snapping Turtle, but we need to bulk up our team as much as we can. Unfortunately here we are going to lose to an all-scaling team, which is not surprising, even though we had Monty to one-shot their biggest unit there. Yeah, we'll take the level up, or partial level on the Velociraptor. Okay, we do get the level on it. With a level 1 visitor, we're only going to need it once, but at the same time, we could end up just putting extra perks onto the rest of the team once the Husky is gone. Now here we do end up winning against another powerful looking Manticore team, so kind of fortunate there. Yeah, not really much point in buying this pretzel because it's only a +2/2, but maybe it's just because I've got so much stuff frozen, I don't want to not buy anything for multiple turns in a row. Another turn of rolling down, we don't find the snapping turtle. And you can kind of see what I mean, how, you know, these kinds of runs can fall apart. Now this is a pretty nasty team with triple, what are they called? Mimic octopuses. But I think because of the Husky scaling, we are going to actually scrape a tie. So yeah, the game just keeps getting extended, and maybe we're going to end up going past turn 20 again here. So finally we get the snapping turtle. We'll just buy whatever food is available. Maybe actually here I could have frozen the Water of Youth and potentially converted the Husky into snapping turtle. But yeah, I didn't think of that in the moment. Another team with Melon that's going to get removed by the Tiger Bug. But I think, are we going to scrape a draw here? Oh, we're actually going to win by 1 HP. Very lucky there. So now we can sell the Husky. We have to make sure that we don't buy the Visitor first. I've definitely made that mistake in some of the runs. So we'll pill the Snapping Turtle onto the Monty, bring in the Visitor. It's only a base stats unit, but the stats on the Visitor don't really matter. It's just about applying Exposed. Now at this stage you can see that the team doesn't really make a lot of sense. Although it seems like it would make sense to have Tiger Bug and Visitor because they work well together in Unicorn. Actually, you'd rather just have the Monty instantly hitting their biggest unit. You can see here that the Tiger Bug was completely wasted on that 100-100 behemoth there, whereas Monty would have just instantly knocked it out without the Visitor's help at all. And this kind of encapsulates one of the problems with the way that Customs is at the moment, in that putting as much scaling as possible onto units with vaguely good abilities is basically the solution to almost every problem. And although we have this completely nonsensical lineup where the synergy doesn't really matter at all, the big stats plus the half-decent abilities on Tiger Bug and Monty are going to result in this turn 19 win. And we actually end up getting the Monty ribbon as well. So in the end, it wasn't what was requested by the original commenter, but that was the closest I could get after many, many hours of trying.